Right, hello my friends. Maybe not the game you thought I'd be talking about, or games, but it's been on my mind recently because I've been playing these games pretty relentlessly and I just wanted to sort of complain about them. I just want to get something off my chest first, that I do actually quite like these games. Would I say they're good? Kind of. I mean, they're not the best Pokemon games, and as you can see, they're literally the least optimized thing on the planet. This is probably one of the worst places in the game for optimization, because a sandstorm can come through here and it chugs down to like 12 to 15 FPS, and it is absolutely pathetic. There's some other massively glaring moments of this game of just like pathetic lag. See, that doesn't actually look too bad. I don't know. I think that's still sub 30 FPS, but whatever. There's a lot going on here. I want to say as well, this game, like, visually is pretty ugly for a Pokemon game as well. I am obviously talking about Scarlet and Violet at the same time. This is Scarlet. There are some differences in the games in, like, presentation. So for starters, in Scarlet, you get this Pokemon to ride on instead of the other one in Violet, which I think's a lot better. The one in Violet just goes around on wheels and it like tucks his legs in, which is pretty nice. And also the school uniform is different in Violet. They have purple ties and shorts, which so I played that one first. So we'll go to somewhere with a bit better or higher leveled Pokemon. The general story of this game is like a lot better than the other. Well, I haven't completed Arceus, but the story of this game and the characters are like infinitely better than the ones in Sword and Shield, other than maybe Leon and Sonia. They were the best characters in Sword and Shield. I think Hop has to be one of the worst written fucking Pokemon characters like ever. Like, I've never seen somebody whine and bitch. They acknowledge they're better. You're better than them. You wipe the floor of them, and then they still bitch that they're lost. It's like, get a life. Yeah, he's a fucking tool. I can't stand him. Oh, yeah. So we just got a random battle. So the battles in this game are much like this. You can view all around you, and stuff in the background does happen, which is kind of nice. But also the camera angles in this are some of the worst I've ever seen. It's even funnier with trainer battles. I don't think that'll do. Oh no, cool, did kill him. I don't want to actually capture that because this isn't my main game for capturing stuff. So yeah, you can still see stuff. The funniest thing is the trainer battles. So in previous games, trainer battles, you'd go up to, well, if they spotted you, you'd immediately engage in a battle. In this game, you don't. You actually have to go and talk to them, which is kind of nice. They're like optional side quests, because obviously you can traverse any terrain, or well, initially you can't traverse the terrain the way you'd want, but you can obviously, like going up cliffs and stuff and like jumping over stuff. You can't do that until you unlock an ability with the rideable Pokemon a bit later on, but you can just avoid, you know, other trainers by just running around them, and they will stand out in the open like this. So initially it does start out normally. You have got like close-ups of them talking to you and what their face looks like, but you'll eventually see how kind of stupid it is. So, always sending out that piece of crap. Yeah, I shouldn't be using the Skarmory for this, and he's not even my lowest leveled. Ooh, super effective. Yeah, I'm just cleaning up on most of the stuff here. I'm trying to get my Pokemon up to like level 60, and yeah. So they stand there. You don't see. Oh no, sorry, I've got a bit ahead of myself. So in older games, when he sends out his second Pokemon, it would do like a close up of him, and you see what's happening. But it's obviously a fixed camera sort of pivot here. And now when we've beaten this guy, he will literally just stand there and talk. Like, it doesn't do a close-up in the previous games where you get to see their stupid expression. My favourite one was the camper from, well, the female campers from Sword and Shield, because they had, like, such a funny expression. Or the lasses, I think they were quite cute, but whatever. Yeah, it's kind of goofy with some of that stuff. So it hasn't really got the charm of previous Pokemon games. There's a lot of stuff in this as well, which is just incredibly goofy. So Pokemon breeding now, which isn't something I thought I'd be ever talking about in a video. There is no daycare system in this game, and also Pokemon eggs don't immediately happen. You have to go and like make it's either sandwiches or you buy an ice cream from one of the starting places in the game, and then you can find Pokemon eggs. So you do it by this. Hang on, sorry, I pressed the wrong button. I'm still not used to Nintendo Switch controllers, and I've been playing this game for like ages. So it's done by this picnic system where you set up a picnic in the middle of nowhere, which is kind of goofy. I never actually used this system other than to get Pokemon eggs, which so if you want a specific egg, obviously I use a Ditto and said Pokemon. You go up to the basket and it will be like, oh, it doesn't look like there's anything in there. Because I've got such a mix of teams here, if any of them could breed with each other, it would just be a random egg. Presuming all of them here could breed, except for, you know, my legendary. So it would just say, you looked in the basket, oh, there's a Pokemon egg, do you want to take it? And it could be random, it could be any one of these, so there's no sort of set way to do it, which is kind of goofy. What else? Oh yeah, also eggs don't spawn unless you have like the ice cream or the sandwiches. So the sandwiches, you just literally go up to the picnic table and you can redecorate your table. Do you want to change up? Like, as if that's actually important. My cup, my water bottle, what the Academy bottle, tablecloth. I don't think I've got any others. Oh no. Okay. Make a sandwich. So it's got this really goofy system. This is essentially like curries from oh, I can only make one, sorry. I'm actually dumb. This is essentially like the curry system from Sword and Shield, except it's not like a mini game with other people. You have 10 minutes to make a sandwich. Oh, it doesn't matter how bad you make it as well, so I could literally put all the ham on that side, and it's not actually going to matter. There we go, there's a perfectly made sandwich. All done. I don't think you actually get judged on that either, because it's still the same. Look at that. Yeah, it's pretty goofy. Yeah, and like what is this? Literally, I don't know. It just seems so like goofy. This is like the pinnacle of Switch graphics. Like, honestly, I would have liked to have seen. That was a 3-star. We made it poorly, and yeah, it's just kind of stupid. But anyway, you're all done picnicking. Yes, I am. So you get bonuses, and you sometimes get XP for your team. Whatever. So honestly, this game would have done much better if it looked like Sword and Shield, like actually had that sort of graphical style, which is quite nice. I will say about stuff that I do actually enjoy in this game. Like I do enjoy that all Pokemon are like in the overworld. It's a lot easier to catch shinies now. Like, I already have one. Where is he? Here he is. Yeah, so you can just go out in the wilderness and you can just literally just find shinies, which is quite nice. Although they do have a chance of just like running away. Some Pokemon in this, like Chanseys, if they sort of spot you, they will just literally gun it, which is quite comical because the size they are. Some of these will actively like try and engage you or like try and run you down. So there is one area in the game where there's like Tauros, but they're like dark versions or dark type. So they're like all black. They look pretty sinister, to be honest, but if they see you, they will literally just charge at you, which is kind of annoying. And it reminds me of in Sword and Shield, like those Boltund things. It's like the evolution of Yamper in one of the DLCs. They're so friggin' quick, and you literally have to be on your bike and like sprinting away to get away from them. So, yeah, some of the engagements in this are pretty annoying. Obviously, there is a lot of stuff in the overworld which you can just pick up, like random items. A lot of it is stuff that in the previous games, like especially like GBA and 3DS games, would be items that you only find once, like damp rock, or stuff like that. And in this game as well, it's a lot more. It's easier to get stuff like you would get from the battle tree. Like in, I'll probably load it up in a minute, but in my Violet save, I have like a life orb, which I think is like 100 battle point item in previous games. I can't remember because they changed the value of it all the time. TM's now a single use, which is kind of annoying. Well, semi-single use. So TM's obviously technical machines, which you can teach a Pokemon any move. Well, you can teach Mew any move, but not every Pokemon can learn every move, which is kind of goofy. What else? There's so much I wanted to say, and I was like thinking last night. Oh, I'll just talk about this game. Oh, also there's these things. So there's a lot of different ways to level up Pokemon in this game. This is one of them. I think this is a new Pokemon. I don't think it's in Sword and Shield anyway. Should I just try and capture it? Yeah, so unlike the previous game, like Arceus, you can't just throw a Pokemon. Well, you always send out your Pokemon, like in the previous games, where you go and attack them instead of just you stand there as a trainer and then you throw your Pokeball. Cool. So this Pokemon is pretty weird. So what you do to level that up is when you defeat a Pokemon, you get materials from them. So if it's got an evolutionary line, so there we go, we got Grimmagle coin 50. You never actually get that many from other like battles. It's usually only like 1 to 3, I believe. However, that one is unique because that's where you level it up. If you gain 999 of those coins, it levels up, or sorry, not levels up, it evolves. The other thing is as well, there are that Pokemon, but they're not in like the chest. They're just in the overworld, and you go up to them and they just give you coins. You don't engage them with like another Pokemon to do a battle, which is kind of weird. Yeah, so it's got random weather effects in this as well. It's like the bits in Sword and Shield where weather effects can just take place at random. So sometimes it would just say like, oh, the sun is dazzlingly bright, or it doesn't actually say with rain. It just starts raining. So it does have all the effects of like the weather, unless you're obviously starting a battle with those effects enabled. So if you have like Kyogre or Groudon, you know, the Gen 3, I can't remember what they're called. Are they like the Catastrophe Trio or whatever? You know, that those two and Rayquaza. I don't even know how to pronounce half of the names in this because there's no voice acting in this as well, which I will actually say does actually take does somewhat benefit one of the storylines in this. So a bit like the visual novel Virtue's Last Reward, where there is, well, which does actually have voice acting, but one of the characters doesn't speak, and it's actually a plot point for later on why you never actually hear their voice because it would give away who they are. In this, it's the same. One of the characters is on the phone to you saying, "Oh, this is Classopira," or whatever her name is. I can't even pronounce that name. I never look at the spelling, but whatever. Just going from memory. She'll say, "Oh, I want to destroy Team Star," and well, you never hear her voice, so you never figure out who it is from just like listening to them. Or I suppose they could have just had like a voice modulator, couldn't they? So it is what it is. Yeah, so it's kind of a plot point that you never actually figure out who it is. Although the plot is so like predictable that you kind of figure out who it is to begin with. I should actually go to somewhere which has better, higher level Pokemon. So Yeah, obviously the game is visually pretty ugly, and that was me just dropping my phone on the floor. Yeah, it really doesn't suit the art style, and there's a lot of like pretty awful things in this game as well. So this area is probably one of the last areas you unlock in the game, which requires that you actually have this ability on the legendary Pokemon you have, which allows you to climb up walls and also glide as well. And what's the other one? It can dash, and there's something else. Oh, I already have one of those. Ah, yes, that's because I started the game with one. I'll get onto that in a minute. But anyway, so yeah, the traversal in this game and some of the areas that are locked behind it are kind of goofy. So there's a desert area, which I think so near where I started this video, there's a desert area with these like giant tall climbable items in it. Pokemon around there are like level 25 to 30-ish, and you don't actually have the ability at that time to challenge the Pokemon, well, Titan Pokemon, to unlock the ability to there's a good visual glitch there, to climb up walls. So those giant sort of pillars in the middle, you can't actually reach the top of. The Pokemon on top of those are still the same level as the ones around them, like on the floor. However, if you go onto the wiki, it will say the Pokemon that appear there are a lot different, and yeah, just by looking you can see they are a lot different. So it's not like they hadn't thought that out, but you know, you would have thought they would actually balance things based on like where you can actually reach in the game, which obviously they have thought about in some way with like this, like these areas here. You can't reach this. Oh, also I'm trying to just need to remember if this is where you unlock one of the legendaries, because I did this the other day, but I can't remember if it's here or not. Yeah, so there's a hidden cave up here, just in case you are playing this game and you've never actually seen this. So this is when you unlock one of the legendaries. So there's bloody hell. Yeah, some of this game is pretty comical on how many Pokemon it will actually shove into one area, which is pretty weird. So one of the changes I do actually like in this is that you can make Pokemon remember any move. So you can just remember moves from just doing this. And this also includes TMs. So you can use TMs to learn moves from this menu as well, which is pretty cool. I don't know why it does that. No, sort by name. I want to find... Or is it Rock Slide? That's what I wanted to teach him. Don't want Rock Tomb. Also, your Pokemon will recommend like a move to like learn or remove. So if we try and learn Metal Claw, I'm not actually going to use this, but it will say ask for advice. It'd be like, Skarmory wants to forget Rock Slide and learn Metal Claw. You don't actually want to do that because, you know, Iron Head is a better move. But regardless, that's a pretty cool feature. So you can forget moves here as well, which you don't actually need to do. So rearrange moves. So yeah, it's pretty good. The other feature in this game as well, which what can I show you? Yeah, so I'll have to use Sceptile for this. So obviously Sceptile is like pure grass thing, but they've got this system called Terra Orbs. Yeah, this is also pretty weird. Like, I wasn't actually at that angle, but now I'm standing on a rock because the game has to fit you in there. So one of the things you can do is Terastallize Pokemon, so it can change their type. They become stronger. Obviously, to get different stab bonuses, like same type attack bonus, depending if their type is different. So dual types will only have one type when you use this thing. Or, however, you can change your type by doing this. So we'll just use X as it. So, for example, this is a Sceptile, or well, it was a Trico that I transferred from my from Violet, and I managed to make it Dragon type. So now Sceptile is Dragon type, in reference to Mega Sceptile, but from Gen 3 remakes. Yeah, the things in this game are pretty weird. I just realised that was like the dumbest thing I've ever done, because he is... I forgot dragons do double damage to other dragons. Oh, we use dig. Cool. I think I'll just swap out for my Skarmory. Or I'm trying to think. Is he ground type? I can't remember if Gribble or Gabite is ground, making Thunder Wave useless. Yeah, this is like the worst bit about these games. Is just like the awkward camera angles. Like, why would a Skarmory be flying that low? It's just kind of goofy. Anyway, we'll try and capture him. What else was I going to say? Yeah, so this is where what you get one legendary Pokemon. So, it's kind of weird. It's got a blue motif here, and you would have thought, oh, it's going to be a water type or rock type. No, it's not actually. The one you get here is Fire Dark, which is pretty weird. Anyway, so obviously they're like sealed in these sort of like tomb things, which is kind of goofy. You take off the door and it's just like a filled hole in there, and a Pokemon comes out. So scattered around one of the directions on the map, you know, north, east, south and west, there will be like these stakes in the ground. When you take all 8 out of the ground, there will be like a rumbling noise corresponding to the... Oh, didn't want to do that. Also, you can't swim in this game, so you can't go in the water until you unlock the ability for your Pokemon to swim, which is kind of weird. This is actually comical how many Pokemon there are here, but whatever. I can't even remember what I was going to say. So yeah, it corresponds to one of these like dungeon things, and then you unlock it and Pokemon comes out and you fight it. And they've got some pretty annoying abilities, not going to lie. So one thing you can do as well, you can send your Pokemon out like this, is actually how you level up the electric type in my thing, Pawmot. You, so you walk around with it by your side. When Swampert's not actually battling, he should follow me. When you take 1,000 steps and then level it up from what its previous evolution is, it will level up. So I think there's like 3 Pokemon in this game that do that. They also auto battle, which gets you minor amounts of XP in comparison. Obviously, it does have all the I don't know what you want to call them, all the modifiers. So if you have like a lucky egg, they still will get more XP. It's not just like a fixed amount. Also, it's pretty goofy. Like, why are you not attacking these Houndooms and shit? Just kill them. Also, they don't get any EVs, you know, effort values in this from doing battles outside of the Pokeball. You actually have to engage Pokemon in a normal fight to gain them. Yeah, it's like there's a lot of this game that doesn't work. Also, water types will actually go on the water by themselves. So if I swap to another Pokemon, I always open the wrong bloody menu. So if I swap to like Gardevoir, she'll just like disappear. You can't send her out. She'll... Oh, so they appear on that and then they just... Yeah. Oh, I'm thinking of... In Violet, sometimes they just don't appear. It must have just been where I was, but whatever. So it's pretty goofy. If you engage in a battle on the water, that's what will happen. Just they appear on these like floating things. Whereas in Sword and Shield, you'd transfer to like a beach, which would be pretty neat. I found my wise glasses. Would do a joke about I only have this Pokemon in my team because I want to have sex with it. That is a joke, by the way. So, no, I always thought it was pretty powerful. I always had it in my team since like Pokemon Emerald, which I never actually owned. It was always my friend who came around with his GBA and he's like, "Oh yeah, here you go. You can play this." And I was like, "Thanks." Who also apparently was a YouTuber, and then they just like stopped uploading. So, Hal Diamond, if you are watching, it's your boy. So, Yeah, so there's a lot of new mechanics in this game as well, in regards to, well, literally these two Pokemon here. So the one I'm using actually has a move which can revive other Pokemon from the dead, as if you're using a revive bead, which you can actually use online from what I understand. I haven't got a Nintendo Online subscription yet, so I can't view that. It only has one use of it though, so that's pretty broken. So online you could just have like a team of 3 of those, and then technically have like 6 Pokemon, which would be pretty broken. But whatever. And so the other Pokemon there has got a new evolution, which I think you have to defeat. What's it called? So you have to have another one of you have to battle the same Pokemon. However, it needs to be carrying an item, which is called, I can't remember what it's called, but basically you need to battle the ones that carry the item, defeat them, and then defeat like 6 or 7, maybe even more. It might be 10, and then eventually levels up. And the one you get is actually pretty powerful. The champion in this game, or the Supreme Champion, I can't remember what they call her, Le Primera, she does actually have one of those in her team, and obviously when I did this in Violet, she got absolutely blasted. So here's another mechanic of the game, which are like these team star bases. So like the mechanic I showed you earlier, where you can send out your Pokemon to battle, you get 3 Pokemon to do that instead with their bases, and you have to defeat 30 of their Pokemon, which usually die in 1 hit. And not very effective. Are you joking? Yeah, I don't know why I'm getting a cold now. Literally as soon as I started this video. So yes, that's one of the mechanics of this game, that you go in there and defeat 3 of those, and then there's a boss fight against an actual trainer, which is pretty easy, not going to lie. There's... what else is there? So I suppose I will show Violet. Well, it's quite funny. My character in this game is called Violet, but I'll quickly show you Pokemon Violet instead. It's charging. Oh, maybe that's why some of the performance is bad. Yeah, the performance in this is really good game. No, in this game it's really bad in some places. The most comical bit is when you first go to the school. Oh yeah, I should mention that. So the premise of this game is that you actually go to school, and you're on a thing called a treasure hunt, and a part of it. So basically, it's finding your own treasure in like the Pokemon world, and that's their like extra curriculum activity, as it were. And so one of the things is like the gym challenge. Yeah, my character basically looks the same in both games, except she's wearing white shoes and she's got blonde hair in this one. And obviously this is the other Pokemon, other legendary, which is pretty funny. So the gym challenge is part of the what you call it? It's part of this extracurriculum activity, and that's part of the storyline. So that's one part of the storyline. There are 3 storylines. That's one of them, which you face your rival Nimona, who is probably like the best character in this game, or one of the most interesting like rivals for quite some time. She's a very, very interesting character. She's quite cute as well. She loves battling. Unlike other rivals, when she beats you, she doesn't even care. She's like, oh wow, you're actually really good now. She doesn't go and cry about it, which is actually quite refreshing in this game when you beat other people. Like, there's a character introduced in this area, which is part of the DLC, which is why I want to show this off. And he basically cries all the time. He's just a bitch. Also should mention this is a legendary, which probably one of my favourites. It's a new type, which is, well, I think there was another Pokemon that was same type as this. I think it was like Galarian Weezing or Hisuian Weezing or whatever. I can't even pronounce the names. So yeah, so this DLC, they introduced a whole load of returning Pokemon like Apom and Ambipom and stuff like that, as well as Hoot Hoot. So it's mostly like Gen 2 stuff in this one, from what I remember. I haven't actually played this part of the DLC for a while, because I think you have to buy both of them in like one thing. Oh yeah, that's the thing as well. Poke Centers in this game are all outside. Very little of this game involves going inside. And that's probably one of my main complaints, is that so in previous games you did actually have an incentive to go and talk to people. You would, when you go to a city, you would literally go everywhere. You'd go inside every building, you'd talk to people. Sometimes they'd want to trade with you, sometimes they would just, you know, give you an item or TM or something like that, something pretty cool. But a lot of the places inside were relative to the plot as well. There's no like evil organization going on in here for you to stop, except for the sort of post-game thing. If you consider like beating the champion and defeating the Elite Four as like post-game, or like just the normal game, which yeah, fair enough. You know what? I thought that was a Gardevoir then, but she was hiding behind some things. So anyway, sorry, I've literally just, the boxes in this are just absolutely pathetic. That is the one good thing about this game. So when you complete, I think it's the main story, or you might just have to defeat the champion, it does actually rate your Pokemon's stats, like EVs and IVs, like individual values, so the base stats of the Pokemon, and then you can no, I think I actually have to go on to that to see the the effort values. Yeah, so there's like its boosted stats and all that. So all these are like basically from my Red and Blue not Red and Blue, sorry, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. I've transferred them all over, a lot of these, except for Mewtwo, which I think is from X and Y. It does tell you where everything's from, which is pretty cool. Kalos, yeah, this is from X and Y. Yeah, some of these I actually put effort into. This is probably like this is probably like one of the best Pokemon they've done in a while, which is Ogerpon, which is one of the legendaries in this DLC. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It changes its type depending on like the item it wears. So it's got like a bunch of masks it can wear, and it changes its dual types. So it's always grass, but it can be grass fire, grass water, grass rock, and I think, I'm trying to think what the other one is. It might just be pure grass, but I can't remember. Something like that. Sorry, just trying to find something else to put in my team. Yeah, we'll have Magerna. It's pretty cool. Amazing stats. But whatever. So we'll just use Ogerpon. It is pretty weird. It's a legendary, but it does actually have a gender. And the other one I was using, Frenzendepidi, or whatever it is, the pheasant-looking thing. That's part of like a trio of Pokemon which do all have genders. They're all male. They're all poison type. They also have like a pretty ridiculous ability. They have the ability to poison any Pokemon. Well, anything that's not poison or steel, by using any move. So you can use a fairy type move, which that type is. So it's poison fairy. You can use a fairy type move, and then it will still end up poisoning the other Pokemon, which is pretty brutal. So yeah, pretty cool. Yeah, so obviously there is a lot to like about this game. It's not the classic Pokemon experience in some regards. Like, obviously going around and collecting stuff and battling is like the main bit about Pokemon, isn't it? But there's a lot of jank like this. Like, why am I falling? That's just so stupid. Yeah, it's very goofy. Honestly, they could have done so much more with this game in regards to, like, performance. Like, if it looked like Sword and Shield, I reckon it would run, like, maybe not 30 FPS all the time, but I think it would be closer to that than what we actually ended up with, which is, like, this pathetic sort of sub 30, bordering like single digits in some places. I think I've forgotten to mention it a couple of times now, but when you go to the school, when you start the game, you end up in the same class as Nimona. So it pans across this like schoolroom, and if I've got footage of it, I'll put it in, but I don't think I have. So it pans across this schoolroom, and there's a bunch of kids, and they're like shaking back to side to side, like swaying side to side. They literally run in single digits. It might even be like 3 FPS. For some fucking reason, I have no idea why, but all like the static students there, they do have like an idle animation, and they're all fine. I have no idea why they did that. Like, some of the optimization is actually okay in this game, and then other bits are just like, did you even look at this? It's just so fucking bad. It's pretty bloody wild. Yeah, so poison jab. Also, you can find TMs in the wild like multiple times. Like poison jab is a move I've found like 4 times now. Oh, and that's the other thing as well. When you go to a Pokemon Center, you wouldn't have seen it there because this isn't your typical Pokemon Center, or was. So it's got a thing called a TM machine. Battling Pokemon in this game gets you the materials. You need materials to make TMs, so you get a thing called League Points, which, how many have I got? Don't know if it'll actually show me. No, I don't need that. I need to go in the bag. Fuck off. So I've got 689,000 League Points. So you spend those in the same way as you do cash. You can actually use those to buy stuff in this game as well. I'm not sure if you can actually buy stuff in the DLC vendors with League Points, but regardless. So in the base game, you can use League Points to buy stuff as well. However, you need League Points to make TMs. So it's like 8,000, depending on the strength of the move. I think like a medium strength move, or like mid game move is roughly 8,000, and then you need like 5 or 6 materials for each Pokemon. Well, depending on the thing, sometimes it's like 5, sometimes it's 3, depending on like the rarity of the Pokemon as well. So yeah, there's a lot of goofiness in the game, and this is obviously the area that's introduced in the last DLC. Everything here is pretty powerful. The trainers, with the Elite Four, which I've only defeated one of, I think, or I might have the game might have not saved when I did that. I can't remember. So everything here is pretty high level. They're all like 57 to 60, if not higher. Sometimes there are things that are like wandering around, like these supercharged Pokemon that are like level 75, if I can find one. You'll notice them because they glow like bright orange. Yeah, so the area in this is like, sometimes it looks pretty well optimized, and then other times you like pan the camera around and it just tanks for no reason. So yeah, the area in this game is pretty cool. So it's got like these 4 biomes, or like what they call them. So this is like a rocky area. Oh no, 1, 2, 3. Oh no, so I haven't defeated either of them. I think I did battle that guy, but then I just couldn't be bothered. Anyway, so everything in here is pretty overpowered. Like this guy here, oh yeah, here's the thing as well. What I don't like about this DLC, everything is a double battle, which makes things slightly more different. But obviously that is like a post-game thing, isn't it? Like double battles require different tactics, and they pull some pretty nasty stuff. Like this guy, he has a Flygon. So his initial Pokemon are Flygon and Dragonite, and the Flygon always goes first for some reason. I don't know why. Even I outspeed it and it still goes first. Whatever. It has a life orb, which does, so in exchange for life, it does ridiculous damage, and it uses Earthquake. And his other Pokemon is Dragonite. No. Yeah, is that the flying one? Anyway, it's a flying one, so he doesn't do damage to his own Pokemon, which is pretty funny. So yeah, they're pretty brutal. And what I've heard from the last boss in this, which is sort of a returning character, he's wiped the floor with some people. So yeah, pretty brutal stuff. Obviously, you do get single battles if you... Oh, I thought that was a shiny then, but it's not. It is quite hard to distinguish. And if you're like a Pokemon veteran, you'll be able to spot shinies like straight away. But sometimes I'm like, I can't remember what this Pokemon actually looks like. It's good that it does actually say the name. If it's an undiscovered species, it will just be like question mark, question mark, question mark. One of the cool features in this is you get like a mini switch view. So you get these mini missions to do stuff. So you get BP, which you can use for like club activities to improve features in this DLC. So one of them, if you get like 3000 BP, you can... Oh, I've got Poison Jab again. So you can increase the biodiversity in these biomes, which, as far as I'm aware, only increases the... very few Pokemon that appear in them. So the Pokemon that do appear in the biomes from then on are like 3 or 4 of the previous starters from games. So I think in this one it's Totodile, Charmander, and... I can't remember. I think it's like one of the Gen 6 ones and something or other. So 3 or 4 of them are just starters from the previous games, and they do have... they are obviously still the same level, because I mean, it'd be pretty dumb if they weren't. But yeah, it's pretty nice. A chance to get like old returning Pokemon, the ones that people want. You know, everyone wants a Charizard, everyone wants a Blastoise, Venusaur, and all that. So obviously, much like this, there is random trainers that will just stand out in the middle of nowhere. I have got Smurgle, okay. Oh yeah, so those 4 trainers that I went around to earlier, they are actually, well, all that I showed on the map earlier are all, they are called the Elite Four in this as well. And they are pretty brutal. They all specialise in one type, so obviously you don't have to fight them all at once, which is kind of dumb compared to, previous Elite Four encounters and stuff like that. So the last thing I will show you is Terra raid battles. So these are pretty odd. So they have Pokemon which are a different Terra type than what they should be. So as you can see, that was a Lantern or whatever you want to call it. What do I want to use for this? When you see the type, it's kind of like weird to see, because obviously the initial type of that is water electric, and you obviously want to use something that counters that initial type, and obviously it will be using moves of that type, but its actual type is dark, so you need something that's super powered against dark but also not weak to the other things. We'll just use Groudon, probably get absolutely obliterated because it's 4 stars, so it shouldn't be that bad. As long as they don't change the weather, it should be fine. Yeah, like, there's a lot of... I do like the sort of challenge they added with this. This is much like the Gigantamax battles, whatever you want to call them. I can't even pronounce that word. I've seen it so many times, I'm like, I still have no idea what that word says. So if you do this alone, you're joined by 3 random trainers. Thankfully, in this game, the Pokemon they have out are actually quite decent. It's not like... oh yeah, Solar Beam, because we can do this in one turn. So unlike in Sword and Shield, where they just pick like the dumbest types on the planet, so that for some reason they always end up with like an Eevee, and it will just spam Helping Hand or whatever. And what's the other? There's another move that they always use, or like another... Oh yeah, they always end up with a Magikarp. It's like, why the fuck would you have that? Yeah, we'll use Eruption. Eerie Impulse. Is that supposed to do anything? Oh, SP attack harshly fell. Yeah, so these battles are actually okay. So most of the time to actually get on par with the level you need to be at is like level 5 or 6. Obviously you're timed. Unlike the Gigantamax battles, it isn't over if 4 of your Pokemon die, which is kind of the most annoying thing about that game. Oh, here we go. And from what I understand, like, capturing in this is 100% guaranteed. So you can literally... So if it's like a pretty difficult to capture Pokemon, I'm trying to think something like... I don't know, if you wanted to capture like a Salamence, I guess. Yeah, it would be... You get it without failure. Now, the one time I'm recording this, it would probably be like the one time it fails. There we go. Always does that animation of the Pokeball rocking forward once. Cool. Also, you get all these pretty neat rewards. So, XP candy, medium, large, medium. I don't get why I didn't just combine all those. Well, maybe to make it look like I actually gained some substantial stuff instead of just, you know, 5 items, but times, you know, whatever. Yeah, I've been going nearly 50 minutes of just whinging about this game and expressing the changes. So, yeah. I do actually like the Pokédex in this game, I should mention. Like... so recent notes like Ho-Ho. Wait, is that actually Ho-Ho? No. Oh, so most of these I can't actually get because they're actually in Scarlet. Like, ooh, where do you get a Swampert? So, I'm trying to think if I can show it. So in this, if you capture a Pokemon, it will unlock, like, in the list, it will unlock the ones before and after. So, like, it will tell you where to find a... Well, obviously it's not going to show me where you can find a Golem, but it's got, like, data of that is what it is. So, I do like the pictures it's got there. And also, if it's got, like, another form, it will usually show you. But if the form's, like, unique to a different part of the DLC or game, it doesn't show you. I'm trying to think... Oh yeah, there's a evolution for Mankey and Primeape now called Annihilate, which is pretty cool. Fighting Ghost, so it tells you its type and all that. Lives in grassy areas, very rarely seen. I think that's another one where you have to defeat like 30 Pokemon using a certain move. Which, like, I do like the goofiness of some of the stuff in these games, of just like, that's how you level up stuff. Oh, and some of the ones you level up by trading, you can actually just get in this, they'll just be like wandering around the wilderness. Habitat unknown. It's like, yeah, no shit. It would be nice if it told you the if it told you like something's an evolution of something, so you don't have to like be wandering about for it. You could just like find out where it just lives. Not find out where it lives, but yeah, whatever. So yeah, it's got different types. Gorging form, it's eating a Pikachu. Yeah, so it's pretty neat. Yeah. Oh, and I suppose... Oh! That's one of the starters from Sword and Shield. Sobel. It'd probably be fucking useless. I'm trying to think if I'd one-shot it if I did that. I haven't got anything with... Hyper Beam, Psycho Boost, Nightshade. Well, we'll just try and capture it. What's I going to say? Oh yeah, customization in this game is pretty poor. Not in terms of like actual, like the way the your character appears, but oh, there we go, just knocked it out because you know, I wasn't using false swipe. Oh well, I'll try and find another one in a minute. So yeah, your actual uniform, like you can't change your character's uniform other than like a toga or whatever. Not a toga, can't remember what it's called. So you get different types of uniform, but there's no like casual clothes option, which is kind of annoying. That's one of the things I really liked from like X and Y onwards. X and Y probably have like the most extensive sort of like clothing system. I might replay X at the moment at some point because I quite like it. So they're all just uniform. They all have like some sort of purple motif, or oh maybe not. Yeah, but whatever. So these are the only customization options. You get them all from DLCs. So you have Festival Jinbei, which is always green from what I understand. This is the Blueberry uniform, which is kind of bad. Not gonna lie, it looks, I don't know, I'm not a fan of it. But like a casual clothing option in this game would have been quite nice if you could do that. You can customize the bag, gloves, hair, shoes, socks, and all that. I've never actually seen that before, but that's pretty weird. Anyway, so we go back to this because it's the best one. So obviously, socks, shoes, gloves, bag. The hairstyle I'm using, I can't actually use a hat. It will say you can't wear this with the way your hair is. You know, you're not allowed to have a bad bitch haircut without them complaining, basically. Aviator glasses. And then you have like phone cases, because everything is done on a phone in this. So, like, this is a phone screen apparently. This is a Rotom phone, which they've had since, you know, forever. Was there anything else I wanted to say? I don't think so. Overall, if you are going to get this game or these games, so Scarlet or Violet, I would get them on sale. The version of Violet I got was a physical version with the DLC or the season pass built in, which is pretty weird. But when I went to try and buy Scarlet, because I like getting both games, I couldn't actually find it again on Amazon, so it might only be Violet that they did, or they might have sold out. So yeah, I got a pretty good deal for Violet, and then I just bought Scarlet because I was on a Pokemon binge basically. So I would recommend them on sale. I do think Sword and Shield are a bit sort of more refined in terms of like actual performance. Arceus is a pretty good game as well. Or even like, I do quite like the remakes of Diamond and Pearl, but people have said they haven't, they don't have anything from like Platinum in. They have some of like the normal improvements to the game, but it's Gen 4 stuff only, and which is quite funny because it has all the EV evolutions except for the latest one, which was the fairy type. Like all the others in the game except for that one, which I don't know, it just seems kind of weird. Like no Pokemon past Gen 4 are in them, and yeah, and that's the obvious thing about these games. Since they've been on the Switch, there's no game which you can have every Pokemon in, which is really goofy. They make some of them available by just having them in made available by DLC, which I don't know. They obviously allow you to capture some of the legendaries again. Like apparently there's a guy in here which gives out like candy, and if you use it in the Overworld, I think it might be all 3 DLCs, there'll just be like a legendary wandering about, which is pretty nice. Also, it's made some of the event Pokemon available in this as well, like the, what's her name, Meloetta, like the singing thing. Oh, fucking hell, fuck it, I'll just show you. That is available in this DLC by, you go to like where these petals are swirling around, you like spin around a couple of times and then look through your phone. I think you have to have the sepia filter and it will just like appear. Where is it? I knew it was in this position somewhere. There it is. So yeah, it's it does actually have 3 types, which is pretty neat. So yeah, it's okay. It's pretty neat. So You can get that instead of having an event. There are some ones that's obviously still locked out, but yeah. And the last thing I wanted to say was there's a Paradox Pokemon as well, which you might have seen while I was scrolling through here. Did I show one earlier? I can't remember. Sorry, my boxes are just like so full of rubbish. There it is. So that's supposed to be Tyranitar, isn't it? But it's called Iron Thorns. I think I had most of them in the same box, but I might be wrong. Oh yeah, there's 4 legendaries from the base game. Oh, sorry. Wu Qian. Qian Pao. Qiyu. And Tinglu. It's all based on like Chinese myths and stuff. So yeah, so you got like Iron Treads, which is obviously can't remember what it's called. Hydridian or somewhat or whatever. Yeah, so there's some pretty cool ones, and that's obviously that's the legendary Pokemon that you can have. Also, that is my one sort of complaint with this. So you can use Meridian in your team, or whatever it's called. However, you can no longer use it to like traverse the land. So the game thankfully gives you a chance to battle another one, and then have that in your team, instead of having to just say, "Oh, I want him in my team, but I can't actually use him to traverse the land." It's kind of goofy. We'll just show that because it's like one of my pet peeves of this game. So, yes, I wanted to change to his battle form. So he'll appear in your team, level 68. Check summary. He's probably got awful stats. It's not actually going to let me see. Oh, I can't actually judge his stats, which is pretty weird. Unless it's going to let me do it from here. View stats. Oh, it's got amazing stats. Okay, cool. Best. Wow, he's got 4 perfect IVs. That's pretty neat. So yeah, so you do that, and then you can no longer. Well, you have to do that, and then it immediately takes him out of your team, which is kind of weird. So, yeah, I think that's most of my complaints about this game, or games. It's got a pretty cool feature where you can just like take selfies. So if you made like a cute character or pretty cool looking character or goofy one, you can do that. It's pretty neat. I quite like this game in regards to like stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot to like about this, but there's also like a lot to hate. Also, you can customize your own ID and stuff. I've battled 5 shinies. No, I haven't, unless I've like knocked a bunch out. That's pretty terrifying. Total playtime nearly 100 hours. So yeah. Yeah. Thank you very much for watching. If you did, if you made it to the end of this video, whilst me going and ah and basically messing up most of the commentary, but I just wanted to get a few things off my chest. I've had a lot on my mind. Haven't really been feeling like making videos, but hopefully I'll have something else for you if I can actually stop playing Pokemon games. Lately, I want to talk about Scarlet Nexus. Is that what the game's called? Yeah, people were raving about that a couple of years ago, and I just never got around to playing it, but it's been sitting on my hard drive for absolutely ages. I will attempt to try and play more games this year. The only game I actually played that came out last year, yeah, I know, wild, was Warhammer Rogue Trader, and I've played it for about an hour. That's about it. Just there's something about me and weird aversion to playing, actual new games. I don't know why. There's just something about playing old stuff, and yeah. There also might be a special video. I might talk about Dynasty Warriors one last time, because like that series is dead, and I just want to take a dump on it from a great height because it'd be funny, and it's a series that deserves all the hate it gets because Koei are a fucking joke. So thank you very much for watching if you did, and hopefully I'll see you in a video sometime soon. Bye bye.